r/white people Twitter. Rawashed says, all the talk about the shrimp was just deflection. Included photo. Balter Steve says, private equity is doing the same in healthcare. Enjoy the ride. Dankmamessen Quicknuts says, my GF just finished working at a place bought out by private equity in healthcare last year. Site was about 3 or 4 years old. There had been next to zero turnover when she started at this place. After they got bought out by private equity, they lost about 50% of their original staff so far, after about 6 months. She left on Friday, and 2 more in her job position already have 1 foot out of the door. After they leave, they'll have no one on staff that can speak Spanish to patients, and we live in Florida, Mayo. She said when the announcement was made that they were being bought out by private equity, that it was dead silent, and when they tried spinning it off as a positive, people audibly groaned. Fearless Agency 2344 says, did they announce that Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day? Because nothing cheers up the workers who know they are being jerked like Hawaiian Shirt Day. r/white people Twitter. Leftneck 9994 says, another W. Included photo. Repulsive Courage 820 says, the Biden economy is pretty amazing, to be honest. In the rest of the developed world, wages are stagnating, while inflation ate at them with a vengeance. Steadfaston says, the stock market doesn't show how well the poor or middle class are doing, only the fat cats. Bubbly Measurement 61 says, Trump also owns the top 10 highest daily drops in market history. Easy W. Distant Yak says, the explanation Trump has used for this in the past is investors think I'm going to win, so the market goes higher. r/white people Twitter. Professional Sub 270 says, Louisiana just passed a bill making abortion pills a controlled dangerous substance. This is absolute insanity. Included photo. Function Built says, they want to breed an army of underprivileged welfare babies whose only option in life is joining the military. Ardvarkablaze says, by also making sure they don't get a good education and providing as little opportunity as possible, it makes easily prosecutable petty crimes more common, systemically feeding the largest prison industrial complex on earth, a handy way to get around that whole 13th Amendment thing. Soldiers and temporarily mandatory sweet shop labor. Kissit 777 says, vote blue like your life depends on it. William Trosh says, cause it does depend on it, and every election up and down every ticket. Kissit 777 says, yeah, I don't know if people quite understand exactly how scary Project 2025 is. Those religious nuts want to go significantly further than this. Imnatrilaharitm says, Christians kind of threw the whole idea of just being nice to people and letting God sort it out by the wayside. r/white people Twitter. Billtown says, Alito explains that it's all black folks' fault for not knowing their place. If black people didn't vote for Democrats, then Republicans wouldn't have to keep black people from voting. Included photo. Billtown says, the Supreme Court decision written by Alito says that a gerrymander that diminishes black influence is okay because they are Democratic voters. So, that means it is a political gerrymander rather than a racial gerrymander. The fact that race serves as a proxy for party in many states reflects the fact that Republicans do not represent the interests of black people. They are our white nationalist party. Spinning Head says, have been since the 1970s. Fellstorm 1231 says, I'm really starting to think we weren't hard enough on the Confederates. It's getting pretty hard to pretend they ever really went anywhere. Big Hungry Joe says, no, we weren't. Worst thing we ever did was to give them back everything and let them run things on their own. We should have done like the Germans did to Nazis and ground them into the dirt, then made everything about the Confederacy illegal except to teach about it in history class. Spaghetti Ice Godog says, that's it. Germany is still putting PPL in jail for Nazi behavior. In the South they built statues for their criminals. Zombie Caplips says, it is so sickening that these MAGA justices are not held accountable for anything. Excuse me if I sound somewhat ignorant, but who oversees them? Deneth says, Jim Crow was literally laws that prevented them from voting. If they went along with it, they wouldn't have been voting at all. That's not even the most idiotic thing here. What is colossally stupid is that he assumes blacks would be treated just fine in Jim Crow America, just with the rules in place to keep them from voting. If you know anything about the right and their racists, you know that as soon as black people lost the right to vote, they would lose any and every other right that could be taken by legislators. Right back to slavery. Lynching in the streets. They are never satisfied with a political win, and the more they win, the more they let the extremists take over. That's why we are looking at a contraceptive bans in some states, and why it is vitally important that we protect trans people, because it was very much never about drag queens or protecting kids. The first step is always establishing us versus them. r/white people Twitter. Downtown Table 4872 says, Grifter Christian Boebert doesn't even know how to make the sign of the cross. Included photo. DD 97483 says, if she made the sign correctly, she will burst into flame. She is well aware. Harrier MKL says, she's just a bit uncoordinated with her hands above the waistline. Yankelia says, I mean, she sucks for sure, but she's not Catholic or Episcopalian. As far as I'm aware, she doesn't belong to a denomination that uses the sign of the cross in its rites, so she probably doesn't know how it's properly done. No idea why she was attempting to do it in the first place here though. Downtown Table 4872 says, she constantly describes herself as a born-again Christian. Among other things, the fact that she doesn't know that the sign of the cross is typically used outside of her belief is a good indication of just what level of mendacity we are talking about here. Smilling Vamp says, spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch. Alice Jow says, she has trouble controlling what her hands do. She was trying to grab her breasts. r/white people Twitter. Professional Sub 270 says, America's most prominent young Nazi leader was caught streaming gay porn on his show and is now blaming the Israeli Defense Force for hacking the stream. Included photo. Max Ancher says, I'm sick and tired of the gosh darn Mossad always making me watch gay porn. If they pull that crap 7 or 8 more times, I'm gonna freak. Why Arama Pants a Short says, this is literally the least surprising thing that's ever happened. Chad Martigan says, yeah, who'da thunk mister. Actually, sex with a woman is the gayest way you can do it, wasn't straight. Man, imagine being one of his fans. Died in the wool xenophobes and misogynists getting deep into their 20s and wondering when they are finally going to be interested in girls. Elwood Dowd 87 says, between helicopter crashing and gay porn hacking, are we sure the Jews aren't the Ubermensch? Dogstoned Pants says, I don't know how that dick ended up in my ass. Lizard people, Jewish space lasers. McBoatface3's ghost says, this is serious. Just yesterday I was on Reddit and briefly criticized Bibi and the IDF. All of a sudden the screen switched to gay porn. Excuse is so weak. Even if they did do it, they didn't. They wouldn't. But they probably could. It would be CP or equally reprehensible things. In the end his people won't care. Still hilarious though. r/white people Twitter. Expire Red Hot Dog says, Unironic pearl clutching. Included photo. Brixited says, paging Hunter Biden Jesus, are these people just dense? Or, frick, I'm idiots. Waiting for normal says, all. They won the genetic lottery for gutless, brainless and a natural defense against common sense. Blue Floyd says, Katie Fang, you mad bro? Kakopoli says, note, Eric is not supporting daddy at court today. Dogstontourpants says, Eric, no matter what you do or say, daddy isn't going to love you. Canachist says, countless days. Not that there were many days, but an admission that Eric can't count. Not productive one says, Katie Fang, being at this trial is humiliating Eric, oh yeah. Well, I've been at that trial so many times. Blandical50 says, man, I sure hope we don't see a bunch of maggot tears falling soon. That would really rock my world. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.